Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Maryland Public Service Commission's administrative meeting for October the 18th, 2017. Let's begin with our draft minutes from the October 11th, 2017 meeting. I will move to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. On to our administrative agenda.
First item on the agenda this morning, Mr. Chairman, is item number 1. It's Paytech Communications, Inc. filed a notification of a name change and tariff changes, so reflecting that name change.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Lloyd Spivak for the Commission staff. Item number 1 is a filing by Paytech Communications Incorporated informing the Commission of its conversion to Paytech Communications LLC and of the conforming name change. Generally speaking, the Commission has chosen to relax the regulatory regime for competitive local exchange carriers such as Paytech because they do not have market power. However, I do note the conversion to an LLC has some legal ramifications under subtitles 5 and 6 of the Public Utilities article, affecting the requirements to obtain Commission approval to engage in certain types of transactions. The filing includes updated intrastate local exchange tariffs incorporating the name change, a subsequent filing removed from the tariff services that the Commission has authorized to be detariffed. Staff recommends that the Commission note the corporate conversion and name change, direct the company to file clean copies of its tariffs, and accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of today.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Mr. Spivak, just so I know, when a company converts to an LLC like this one is, what are those legal ramifications, very briefly, in subtitles 5 and 6?
There are some elements in 506 when a corporation does various types of corporate transactions, financing, assuming guarantees, some types of mergers with other corporations, where the statute refers specifically to the capital stock, referring to the transfer of the capital stock of a company, or referring to a stock corporation. And if a company is an LLC, we've generally taken the position that it falls out of those requirements in that case, and Commission approval is then not required.
So would it be fair to characterize it as this change, not just of name, but of corporate status, actually gives less, in some areas, less oversight of this entity from the Commission?
The potential for less oversight, Commissioner, yes.
Very good. Thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we note the company's name change, accept the revised tariff pages for filing, and direct the company to file clean copies of the revised tariffs with an effective date of October 18th, 2017.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item on the agenda is Crown Castle International Core LTS Group Holdings Fiber Technology Networks LLC, Light Tower Fiber Networks 1 LLC, and Light Tower Fiber Networks 2 LLC filed a joint application for approval to transfer indirect control of Fiber Technology Networks LLC and the Light Tower Fiber Networks 1 and Light Tower Fiber Networks 2 to Crown Castle International Corporation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. In light of Commissioner O'Donnell's questions, this, I think, is an appropriate follow-up item because this indeed addresses some of your concerns here. This item does address, as the Executive Secretary noted, a filing by Crown Castle International Corp., I'll call them CCIC, LTS Group Holdings, I'll call them LTS, and 3 Maryland telecommunications companies, which I'll refer to as the licensees. The filing asks for the Commission to approve transfer of indirect control of licensees to CCIC and to CCIC's parent company, CCOC. As a result of the acquisition, LTS, which again is the parent of the licensees, will become a direct wholly owned subsidiary of CCOC, which means the licensees will become indirect wholly owned subsidiaries of CCOC and CCIC. As demonstrated in staff's comments, because LTS is an LLC, the acquisition involves the transfer of membership interests. And for that reason, as Mr. Spivak was referring to, the interpretation is that it's not covered by the requirement for authorization under the Public Utilities Article 6101. the financial, technical, and managerial resources that CCIC will bring to licensees as a result of the acquisition, will enhance the ability of licensees to compete in the telecommunications market. Consequently, staff believes that the acquisition is in the public interest. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission note the transfer of indirect control of the licensees to Crown Castle and its subsidiaries.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Or
Just
Oh, yes, Commissioner O'Donnell.
thank staff for that helpful explanation and transition. I appreciate it.
that, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the commission note the transfer of indirect control of Fiber Technologies Networks LLC, Light Tower Fiber Networks 1 LLC, Light Tower Fiber Networks 2 LLC to Crown Castle International Corporation and Crown Castle Operating Company.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item number 3, is DTE Energy Trading, Inc. filed a request to terminate its current certification as a retail electric supplier.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Kenneth Albert. This item addresses filing by DTE Energy Trading that asks the Commission to cancel DTE's authorization to operate as an electricity supplier. In its filing, DTE says it has no customers in Maryland and there are no complaints against the company at Office of External Relations, and they do owe $10 in assessments, and they've been told staff they will be paying that assessment. Therefore, staff recommends the Commission cancel DTE's license to operate as an electricity supplier.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Or, yes, Commissioner Linton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. Do we know why the company wished to cancel their license to operate in Maryland?
No, again, they have no customers, and so yeah, we're going to assume that the marketing has not panned out, has not worked out the way they wanted to, but we did not ask them that question.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For item number 3, I move we cancel the company's license to operate as an electricity supplier in Maryland.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item number 4, is Definitive Energy Group, Inc. filed an application for a license to supply natural gas or natural gas supply services in Maryland.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Lloyd Spivak for the Commission staff. This is Definitive Energy Group's gas broker's license application. Under Section 7-603 of the Public Utilities article, the Commission has the authority and obligation to license gas suppliers, including brokers. The applicant for a gas supplier's license must prove technical and managerial competence, financial integrity, and willingness and ability to comply with the applicable federal and state laws and regulations. Staff has reviewed the application and believes that Definitive meets these requirements. Definitive has posted a $10,000 bond to satisfy the financial integrity requirement. Definitive seeks to provide broker services to commercial and industrial customers in all the utility service territories where gas choice is available. With regard to complaints, staff has not found or been advised of any complaints against Definitive in the states where it currently operates. Staff recommends that the Commission grant the company license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services. Additionally, staff recommends that the Commission direct the company to provide Maryland marketing and training materials to staff 30 days prior to utilization in Maryland, and to notify the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information upon which the Commission has relied in granting this license.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? If not,
Yes.
oh, yes, Commissioner O'Donnell.
First of all, let me thank Mr. Spivak for his explanation as well on that first item. I appreciate the information. And 2, I noticed some of these kind of smaller items. I hate to characterize them that way because they're important. But some of them have FOIA requests attached to other commissions, and some of them are contacts of other commissions. Is there a trigger level that goes with that? I'm just kind of curious.
No, it's really a procedural thing of what the other commissions require in order to get the information. With some of the commissions, we can just email or call, and they will provide it very quickly. Other states actually require that we put a FOIA request through. Generally speaking, even those that do require that are responsive. They just have that as their procedure for getting the information.
I see. All right. Thank you very much.
Any additional questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services, for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff. Direct the company to provide marketing and trading materials specific to its Maryland operations to the Commission staff 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland, and direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, item number 5, is Discount Power. Filed an application for a license to supply natural gas or natural gas supply services in Maryland.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Peter Wilson on behalf of staff. Pursuant to Public Utilities Article 7603, Discount Power has filed an application for a license to operate in Maryland as a supplier marketer of natural gas to all customer classes in all Maryland service territories. Staff has reviewed the application and has determined the company meets all requirements to grant authorization as a gas supplier as requested, including provision of the bond required by the regulations. The company operates in Pennsylvania as a gas supplier and in several states as an electricity supplier. After inquiry, staff has learned of no significant complaint history. The company does not have any training and marketing materials specific to Maryland at this time. Staff has reviewed the company's website and finds it satisfactory. For these reasons, staff recommends the Commission grant the company a license to operate as a gas supplier marketer in Maryland for all customer classes, and direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to Maryland to Commission staff and the Office of the People's Counsel 30 days prior to commencing gas operations in Maryland, and direct the company to notify the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? If not, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move we grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland for the customer classes and service territories recommended by staff. Direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the Commission staff and Office of People's Counsel 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland, and direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I think we can take items 6 and 7 collectively together.
Okay.
Items 6 and 7 are filings from Electricity Ratings, LLC. Item 6 being an application for a license to supply electricity services in Maryland. Item 7 being an application for a license to supply natural gas services in Maryland.
Electricity Ratings has filed applications for licenses to operate in all Maryland service territories as a broker of electricity and gas, serving all customer classes. Electricity Ratings currently operates in other states, and staff has found no reported history of complaints. Staff has reviewed the application and determined that the company meets all requirements to grant authorization as an electricity and gas broker as requested. The company has submitted the bond required by Comar Section 20.51. Staff has reviewed the company's website and finds it satisfactory. For these reasons, staff recommends the Commission grant Electricity Ratings, LLC licenses to operate as an electricity and a gas broker in Maryland as requested, direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to Maryland to Commission staff and the Office of People's Counsel 30 days prior to their use in Maryland, and direct the company to notify the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Thank you. Questions for staff? If not, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the Commission grant the company a license to operate as an electricity supplier and grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services in both instances, for all customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff. Additionally, that we direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the Commission staff and Office of People's Counsel 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland. And lastly, direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, item number 8 is South Jersey Energy Company filed an application for a license to supply natural gas or natural gas supply services in Maryland.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Kenneth Albert. This item addresses request by South Jersey Energy Company for authorization to operate as a natural gas supplier for commercial and industrial customers. South Jersey's management has substantial experience in the energy industry. Few complaints have been filed against the company in the states where they're already an energy supplier. No complaints have been filed at our commission. In its application, South Jersey does disclose that 2 penalties were imposed by the Connecticut Commission against South Jersey. The first penalty stemmed from South Jersey's failure to comply with regulations that require disclosure of financial information on a periodic basis. Connecticut imposed a $30,000 penalty for that. The second penalty stemmed from their failure to demonstrate that they had satisfied the renewable energy requirements in Connecticut. There was an $830 penalty for that was based on a formula that took into account the amount of the payment and the time that they were late in making it. South Jersey explained to staff that it has made changes to ensure better compliance with regulatory requirements. Staff is always concerned, of course, whenever an applicant comes in with a history of non-complying with regulatory requirements, but in this situation we feel South Jersey has adequately explained how these situations arose and, more importantly, what they've done to minimize the risk of this sort of non-compliance happening in the future. It's also significant they are serving only commercial and industrial customers, and these practices did not involve improper marketing of their products. Therefore, staff believes that the violations by South Jersey do not justify denial of their request for authorization to operate as a gas supplier. Staff has reviewed their training and marketing materials along with their website and determined these materials are satisfactory. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission authorize South Jersey to operate as a gas supplier.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Quick question.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Does staff believe that the company understands the seriousness that the commission attaches to compliance issues? And I think you do, but do you feel the company understands that we would view dimly, regardless of the subject matter, non-compliance with our orders or our regulations or the law?
Yeah, we asked several. I think they can pick up on that when we ask them about any violations, and we have a very broad question: any violations, any enforcement actions, anything involving, expulsion from any trade associations. We'll inquire quite broadly, and then we want details, and we make it real clear. We want to know not only why it happened, but why won't it happen in the future.
And I asked the question almost rhetorically to put an exclamation point on for the company to signal that we would view dimly and won't tolerate noncompliance. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Not? Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For item number 8, I move we grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff, and direct the company to file notice with the Commission within 30 days of any changes to the information in the application.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Last item on the agenda today, Mr. Chairman, item number 9 is Williamsport Municipal Light Plant filed revised tariff pages. The company proposes to make changes to a purchased adjustment clause in compliance with order number 88370.
Peter Wilson again for staff. Williamsport Municipal Light Plant has filed 2 tariff pages revising its purchase power adjustment in compliance with case number 9507K and Commission Order 88370. Staff has reviewed the revised tariff pages and has determined that they are in conformance with the case and the Commission's order. Accordingly, staff recommends the Commission accept the revised tariff pages for filing.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff? If not, do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of September 1, 2017.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, thanks everyone. We are adjourned.